So state your question again.
Why wouldn't you put a barrier at Sachem Ave? Temporary or
I
otherwise?
believe that when you were here previously, we were extremely responsive to your needs, were we not? I'm asking you a question, were we not?
No, I asked you not to have parking and to put a barrier there when I came in front of you 2 years ago.
What you asked was you wanted some sort of sign, which we did put up, correct? Are there signs there in front of your family's spot?
I think there is. Some of my family.
You know.
Well, in front of some of my family, I have about 50 relatives buried in the cemetery. The seven whose sites are being driven over. Yeah, you put up a barrier.
We did.
Yeah.
We responded to your needs at that time, did we not? And unfortunately, Sachem is a very public way, and parking is an issue there. It's unfortunate that your parents chose to buy a spot there, and that this seems to be the result of some of the construction that has been going on that was not going on when you were here previously. Correct?
Actually, I don't know the construction that's been going on. I'm not, in charge of that.
Mm-hmm. And so what we could have also told you is that with the parking as well, that we had spoken with the police chief and with the fire chief, and that there are some needs that supersede the cemetery, such as when the emergency personnel need to do their trainings, they need to be at the safety building. That's how it is right now. And I would rather have them be able to have access to their vehicles and to be able to come for their trainings as they need to benefit the whole town. And if that means that unfortunately they are parking here in the cemetery for now, then that is how it is. Because the cemetery is right across the street. Unfortunately, the construction's going on. Unfortunately, National Grid is working. This is something that we have all agreed on and have spoken about previously. But you wouldn't know that because you didn't come ask us about that. Nope. You want me to answer you, you're going to let me answer you. Now, when
did you do that? When did you do that?
When this Arlington Center fire station has their construction done, everything, my understanding is, will be moved down to the center. The trainings and however else they're going to work that. And it won't be an issue here. But I think that being cooperative for the benefit of the town right now is much more beneficial and a better thing for us to be doing. Wouldn't you agree? Because if your house was on fire and if you had a 911 call, wouldn't you want these guys to know what they're supposed to be doing? Because they need to train.
So
right?
when did you give them permission? Was it you? Was it the board?
We had spoke about this quite some time ago.
Do you have roughly when?
It was sometime, well, around the time that the construction began, whenever that was I'm not sure.
Was it you individually or you?
The
I
board
spoke with the chief about it.
You spoke with the chief yourself. Yes. Did you speak with the chief?
I spoke with them as well. Gloria was not part of the board at that time.
So you did this, you went to the chief, or the chief came to you and you gave them permission?
We talked about an agreement about what was going to go on.
Could you tell me the limit of that agreement?
The cemetery has been used for other purposes in the past, long before any of us were even born. You may not realize that. But it's always been used for other things. And sometimes that's just what needs to be done for the benefit of the town, not just because one small section of the street has too much parking. And I would disagree with the 50 cars assessment. I would disagree with your promoting that parking goes on all over the cemetery, because it does not. I don't know whether or not all the cars that are parked there are municipal employees. I'm not sure how it is that you seem to know that all those cars are employees. Some of them may be people that have other business into the police station other than being employees. I don't know unless you can...
Do you have agreements with them as well?
Huh?
Do you have agreements with them? You said you gave the chief of police and the chief of fire, you both personally talked to them and gave them permission to do this. Did you also give the contractors?
Has also spoken to them.
So you gave the town manager the ability to let anyone park there?
We don't give the town manager ability of anything.
So then how are other people allowed to park there? Contractors
I guess they just come in and do it and then they leave.
You don't find that a problem?
It's unfortunate that it's an issue right now, but it has not been this much of an issue before the construction, and I'm assuming that once the construction is done, that hopefully it will go away.
Would you put a gate up there? Or
Not right
a
now.
barrier
Not right now.
in the future?
Maybe when we do the roads, which is something else that we could tell you, that we have it, that the roads are going to be getting done within 2 years.
I saw in
So-
2007, the 5-year capital plan called for the roads to be done in 2012. In 2008, it was 2012. 2009, it was pushed to
So-
2013. 2010, it
So
was
why
pushed to
don't you ask me
2013.
why- so rather
Every year, it was
than-
pushed out 2 more years. Now it's pushed out
So
to
why don't you ask me
2015.
why?
Were you a town meeting member?
Why don't you ask me why, and I can give you the answer unless you don't want it,
You said that the roads were going to be done.
right? Why
I've
don't you,
shown
why do you
that-
think it got pushed ahead? Think for a minute.
Oh, you're going to say because of the water pipes that are under
Here
the
we go.
street. Now, have those been fixed?
Not,
Have those been
not
replaced?
out in the street, but we are having water work done here in the cemetery. It doesn't make sense to do the roads if the water work is gonna be done, correct? Wouldn't you agree? That would be just a waste of money.
So
wouldn't
what
you
water,
agree?
what water work is that? So I noticed a $460,000 appropriation at town meeting this year I voted on that allowed
you.
for the road, for the water to be done. So what water's underneath the street there at Satcham Ave?
What, water?
Yeah, is it a water main
Do you
into the
think
rest of the
there's only
town?
one water pipe?
No, I'm asking under
Full
Satcham
72
Ave
acres?
specifically. Under Satcham Ave specifically.
Under Satcham Ave specifically? I would not agree to having them do road work until everything is done in the cemetery first. It doesn't make sense. I think you'd agree to that. The water work.
Well, I'm just
in the
trying to find out
cemetery
what
will be
water
done.
pipes are underneath
I
Satcham
don't
Ave.
know the exact pipe name.
I think we have the director of DPW here. Could he maybe tell us what the
I'm
water
addressing
under the
your
Satcham
question
Ave?
right now. This is not for you to be pulling other people into.
I asked the chair.
And I'm giving you the answer, and I'm telling you, we will not be pulling other people in right now. Understood? Do you understand? Answer me.
I thought it was a rhetorical question. Go ahead.
No, it was not.
So you didn't answer the question,
I
what
did
water
answer
is
the
under there?
question. What
So
more am I supposed
Satcham
to
Ave,
say?
Satcham Ave is in very bad shape. And it's because of parking and it's because of using it as a
Heard your
public
concern
way.
about that, yeah.
So you said earlier that you felt that Satcham Ave was a public way.
I said it is a very public way. I didn't say it is. It's right there, right off of Mystic Street.
So Satcham Ave is not a public way. It's under the
This is a
control of the
public
cemetery.
cemetery now. This is not a private cemetery, unlike St. Paul's, which is a private cemetery.
Well,
Or like,
Oak Grove or Westview and Lexington, I also brought those as
so,
public.
right, private cemeteries. This is a public cemetery.
So I went and drove through those other cemeteries
Mm-hmm.
and videotaped, just traversing through them, and they're very good shape, very good
That's
shape.
great.
And ours are not. And it's not because of lack of maintenance. When was the last time you had a capital expenditure on the road surface in the cemetery? Do you know?
We've had road repairs in the cemetery.
The capital expense. When was the last time that because when I look, it's been more than 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So to use it as a parking lot for,
It's not
as we
used
already,
as a parking
as we already
lot.
know,
The
for more than
cemetery
7
itself
years.
is not used as a parking lot.
For
so
more
please
than
stop
7
saying that.
years, for more than 7 years being used as a
It
parking lot,
hasn't been 7 years.
and for it to be used as a throughway, as a cut through, that's really damaged the roads much more than any other
It's a
cemetery.
huge cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
People cut through.
Westview and Oak Grove's a huge cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people in Oak Grove, to visit. And
Obviously.
there's no way to go through. If you go in, all those cemeteries have one thing in common. You go in one way and you come out the same way.
Mm-hmm.
There's gates that are closed generally on all of those cemeteries in the back.
Mm-hmm.
There's no easy way to, and it's certainly not used as a cut through.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll agree that Mount Pleasant's being used as a cut through.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it does. And I think you've probably used it as a cut through too.
I beg your pardon?
I said, I'm sure you've probably used it as a cut through yourself.
You know something? I am very conscious of it, and I'm very careful not to use it as a cut through.
Mm-hmm.
I've come in here for cemetery business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having grown up in here, I'm sure that I did things years ago. Statute of limitations have passed. But I think that you have your control. You can put up a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be permanent. It doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah.
You can easily stop this issue immediately.
Well, we
And I'm
thank
just
you for
asking
that
why you wouldn't do
suggestion.
that.
We
I'm
thank
asking
for
why
that
you wouldn't do
suggestion.
that.
We're
Take it
not,
under advisement.
we're not inclined to do that at this time.
Okay, thank you very much.